Can I have a motion to commence the planning board meeting June 24th?
I move that we open the meeting for June 24th of the Raleigh Planning Board.
Have a second, please.
Second.
Second by Mark Savory, motion by Chris Thornton. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The first order of business, I can have Kirk kind of explain. We're looking at Dexter Drive's final vote for approval of the subdivision road.
Yeah, well, of course, Dexter Drive was accepted at the May 4th spring annual town meeting, and the Board of Selectmen, I guess, at their time of the public hearing, they didn't actually have a copy of the Mylar. They reviewed the paper hard copy, or they had the paper hard copy, but they didn't have a Mylar to sign, so we more recently, since the town meeting received the Mylar, the planning board signed it just at the, I think it was the last meeting, and then the Board of Selectmen signed it shortly thereafter, and the applicant, Mr. Clark, came and took the Mylar to the Register of Deeds and had it recorded. So it has been recorded. We have the proof of recordation. I checked with Highway. I got with Highway and with Larry, and I have letters from Fire Department and the Health Department and all those that there are no outstanding issues to be dealt with, and the applicant is requesting that their $20,000 surety be released.
So we have letters from those town departments.
Yeah. Copies right here.
Okay, that's fine, as long as they're for the files.
Yeah, we have, and some of them were from, they had, mainly I just updated with the Highway and with Larry, and they had actually already approved the street acceptance plan last year in 2013, but they did.
Okay, so what we have is a letter which really also suffices, I guess, as a motion in regard to, and this letter is addressed to Alan McLean from First Ipswich Bank, 31 Market Street, Ipswich, Mass. Regarding Hawksworth Estates, Dexter Drive. Be advised at this time that the town of Raleigh at its annual Springtown meeting held on May 4th, 2015, voted to accept the Dexter Drive roadway and the Hawksworth Estates subdivision. Subsequently, the Raleigh Planning Board at its June 24th meeting made a final determination that the Dexter Drive roadway improvements have been satisfactorily completed in accordance with the definitive subdivision plan, and voted to release the remaining $20,000 being held in the form of a tripartite agreement between Clark Associates LLC and First Ipswich Bank. I want to get a motion to, I guess it could be,
Release the surety?
can you want to combine the motion that the satisfactorily completed in accordance with the plan? Based,
Well, haven't we already determined that?
like, yeah, I mean, but Patrick.
I
It's just that Patrick was the last one to weigh in.
I make the motion
The
that,
highway surveyor, that's,
yeah, I make the motion that we release the surety on the basis that the roadway improvements have been satisfactorily completed in accordance with the definitive subdivision plan.
perfect.
I second the motion.
Second by Chris, that motion's by Cliff Pierce. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. Okay, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 in favor and 0 opposed to release the remaining $20,000. So thanks, that's one more subdivision down.
Yeah, good to get them off the docket.
You're all set.
Thanks.
Kirk has a couple updates regarding some outstanding issue related to Ken Hamilton downtown and Raleigh Country Club, those two.
I just got this in the middle of this.
This memo came like, I didn't print it out because it came before I left.
specific comments that we're making.
What am I doing with this?
What's that?
Is this associated with the memo?
Yeah, it's actually the numbers that are on, for the comments.
What, for reference?
Yeah, for reference, or reference on here, you see number 2, number 1, all circled. I might have kind of colored, but shows up on the black and white. In any case, Brent, they have met with the Concom, and Brent, before he left today, got me this memo that is going over the outstanding items and where they stand with the Conservation Commission. And so maybe if you want, I can just briefly go over.
Yeah, you can
these.
cut to the chase, people can read it.
Yeah, like number 1 really is referring to there's a storm scepter treatment unit at the bottom of where the entrance.
If you look, the board can look at the right side of the entrance driveway
Yeah, it's where the number 1.
on Church Street.
So that is really that's the main thing as far as Concom is concerned about. That storm scepter is not actually been installed yet, and it does need to be installed because it is the filtration system before anything goes into the 200-foot riverfront buffer. So that does need to be done. And number 2, there are 2 other storm scepters up in the parking area on either side of the parking area.
That's 2 and 3.
Yeah, that's 2. Well, actually, that's just number 2.
Right, no, that's 2, sorry.
Yeah, they're 2 separate storm scepter units, and he's actually saying here that there was a field change where these storm scepters were not installed, but in lieu of that, the applicant had agreed to install catch basins with oil and grease separators. And the only thing that Brent points out, and I've actually already queried, I've sent this actually to the Mr. Hamilton and to the lawyer, and to request that they actually comment on this, but to confirm whether the catch basin and oil and grease separators have actually been installed as was agreed based on the field change.
Okay.
So number 3. Brent points out some areas along Central Street where there's been some of the stone ground cover has slumped down, apparently because children have been running up and down that slope, and he's only basically saying that they need to try to stabilize that and to do something about building up the stone with material that would keep the kids, will stop the material from sliding down the slope. And then number 4, he points out there's a subsurface inlet pipe which is located on the west side of the building at the front towards Main Street, front corner. And there's an inlet, subsurface inlet pipe that was intended to receive a downpipe conducting roof runoff, which was not actually used, and he's just saying that it needs to be capped at the corner of the building. That's a very minor thing.
As you can see, this is printed on both sides.
Oh yeah,
So page
put it
2
on
is in
both
the,
sides.
page 2 is in the back.
And then number 5 is located in the front of the building along Main Street. He points out one of the inspection ports to the subsurface infiltrator installed under that stone patio has lost its cover and the pipe is apparently clogged. And he's just saying it needs to be cleaned. That's once again a very minor thing that can be done. And then number 6 is the final one. That one is actually also located in the very front around one of the main entrances on the front towards on the left side, saying that there's an aluminum downpipe that terminates on the solid granite block. Instead of entering an inlet for an underground infiltration chamber. He's saying that downpipe is clogged with debris and is a candidate for bursting in the winter with, if the water freezes, since it's not able to effectively drain. He did suggest that a rain barrel would be installed that would provide water to the tenants for maintenance of the plantings, and Brent expresses his support of that idea. He does mention that the Conservation Commission has not received full monitoring and inspection report on the property, indicating that the stormwater facilities have been checked as recommended under the O&M plan for the project, and he recommends that that be done. And I guess in regards to this, that it really comes down to, some of it is actually cleanup. The storm scepter at the base of the entrance, that's the real big thing. The stone treatment on that slope along Central Street is the next thing that might actually have some cost associated with it. They have a $15,000 cash deposit with us, and I just suggested that, and I did, this came like rather late in the afternoon. As soon as I got it, I sent it over to Larry, just asked what he thought in terms of, if we wanted to retain enough money to cover the storm scepter and perhaps, having them do as-built if the board wants that, or maybe just the storm scepter and then the improvements on that slope in order to stabilize that slope. We could retain that much money. Maybe, I've actually requested the applicant submit an estimate based on this. to us.
Has the applicant requested the release of the
They're
surety?
requesting release, and at least some of the money. The way they've stated it, they would like the entire amount released, of course. But with this, it's obvious that the board it wouldn't be wise to release the entire amount without knowing how much the storm scepter might cost since it's not installed yet. And this is also assuming that number two, that the catch basins and the oil and grease separators have been installed. If those haven't been installed, then that might need to be included in the amount. But I guess the thing to decide.
You've been in touch with council? Have you been in touch? Who's the engineer in this? Again, I forgot.
Oh, I've actually talked to Ken Hamilton and then the attorney.
Rich, yeah.
Yeah, Rich
Calvin.
yeah.
But who was, I forgot the engineer.
The engineer, actually,
Charlie Weir? Was it Charlie Weir?
I think you're right.
I think, I remember him talking about Church Street, that's why.
Yeah, I think it is.
All right, well, they just have to coordinate. Is it okay if I just direct Kirk to continue to follow this and work with Brent? And if we need to do a site visit, and we'll get.
yeah, we can always set up a site visit.
We'll work with Ken to, with Larry and just try to move things along, but I can't entertain a vote to release surety with this kind of detailed report with outstanding stormwater management issues, right?
No?
Well,
Is that a-
no, we need
is that-
Larry
is
to tell us what he thinks is required to get done.
They're gonna give us an estimate?
Yeah, we're gonna need
So-
an estimate.
So that should be reviewed by Larry, and
Yeah,
then
exactly.
we'd be in a position
Yeah.
to vote for a reduction, but not now.
Yeah, and I want an estimate that comes from, professional, like from the engineer or something, or from Rich.
Well, even an estimate, we'd want a timeline to finish the work as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's if this, then that. It just has to finish this, then we can do it.
Right.
And then we can decide with Larry whether or not, I don't really know how much the actual construction, how many we need to ascertain, how many field changes took place. Whether or not we just need a full as-built.
Yeah.
I would just rather have the money go into the storm scepters and not into $5,000 worth of as-built. If possible, but it may be so many changes that, for the record, we need an accurate plan of that area for the next person who might have the property, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
because it has to be recorded too.
Mhm.
And Mr. Hamilton had expressed that releases some of the money would actually help him to complete the storm scepter improvements, but, I don't think it makes sense to release all.
Well, no, not until we see what it costs,
Yeah,
and see a contract.
And-
I'd like to see a signed contract for the work and the cost, right? Wouldn't you? So we know it's gonna get done?
That would be nice.
Yeah. Otherwise, there's no guarantee, right?
And ultimately, we do need an as-built plan, right? We can't,
Yeah, I just don't, it may be the actual plan, but there's already been a couple, well, I don't know, I'm looking at this plan, I gotta talk to Larry, maybe this.
but didn't the special permit require an as-built?
and
I
then,
don't think the,
Well,
no, I don't,
We'll
yeah,
check.
there's been a
Okay.
special
I didn't
permit
know if
and
that's something
a
that-
site plan review, but I mean, in these situations, I don't think there's typically been necessarily an as-built required.
No, we didn't. I don't
The
think.
country club didn't have an as-built, well, they put down
Well, I
roads,
mean,
so they're not gonna be
that's
proud
a
of those.
residential,
Let's just check the permit.
Okay.
Some of those, it's boilerplate, subdivisions and so forth. Right. That's fine, next.
oh, and, so next on the list,
It's a detailed report, helps us out, appreciate that.
I was gonna report on West Ox Pasture Road.
Or whatever, right, yeah, it's your,
I'm sorry.
you have the floor.
Oh, yeah, I'm just gonna mention that West Ox Pasture Road, they had come in previously and talked about doing an OSRD subdivision. And,
Want to fill Mark in a little bit?
yeah, we had met with them. They were actually.
Kind of get him in the right area, tell him where he is.
Yeah, if you, West Ox Pasture Road is an unimproved, it's a
Yeah,
gravel
I
drive
know
that
it
goes
too.
all the way back.
You know,
If
Fitton's
you
Lane on it.
carried it all the way through, it actually backs up to Arthur P. Gordon Drive, and there's actually a little bit of right-of-way there from, at the end of Arthur P. Gordon Drive to actually, that's town-owned, and they were proposing to actually extend Arthur P. Gordon Drive to provide access to this parcel for an OSRD, which is an open space residential development. And, you know, one of the issues is, you know, there's an issue of connecting the different subdivisions, the roads, in order to provide dispersion of traffic. And then there's also a requirement in the planning board rules and regulations for the length of cul-de-sacs that you can't exceed 500 feet unless it's an OSRD situation. Then there is an option for a waiver potential. But in this situation, you have West Ox Pasture Road, which is a you know, unimproved public way. But and there was also to the south of there was an actual right-of-way called Vinton's Lane, which is totally unimproved. I think it's more like what you consider an ancient way. And that they actually were having us look into I guess the status, the legal status of these different ways, and trying to figure out what their initial proposal is basically to extend Arthur P. Gordon Drive into this cul-de-sac to provide access. And I think in our initial meetings, we had actually said, well, more likely that, well, that's going to be a cul-de-sac length of way in excess of what the town would really want, plus there's not, you know, a secondary access. So you'd look at, you know, constructing the rest of West Ox Pasture Lane all the way out to Weathersfield, potentially for this, in order to provide that secondary access. They had actually also looked at Vinton's Lane as providing, you know, a second access, which would like give them access all the way back to Route 1. And the attorney did look, Judy Pickett did look into the information that was submitted by their attorney on Vinton's Lane and the history of that, and there wasn't enough to actually say that this was, you know, a viable way. So Vinton's Lane is pretty much out at this point. And
Who owns Vinton Lane at this point?
well, that's, I mean,
That's
it's
the question.
under, some of it's public and some of it is.
Isn't Baxter owned back there?
And there's a private, there's different, you know. different-
Okay, so,
It's abandoned,
so,
but it's
yeah.
That's one Muddy Road.
It was abandoned at one time.
Yeah. well,
Yeah, and then it was
No,
abandoned.
abandons.
Bannon, John Bannon.
At one time, I
Oh,
think they
what?
owned one.
I'm sorry?
A guy named O'Bannon?
Bannon, Bannon, I think that owned the road at one point. Or at least a number of property on the road, right?
So title of the road is really convoluted and Judy couldn't make a determination whether the.
Yeah, and I think that that one of the pieces of information that she had found, she's gonna issue a formal memo, it hasn't come yet, I've just had a discussion with her, but that some of it was also that in regards to Vinton's Lane, that it was actually, that was actually, it was discontinued way back. You know, so it's not a viable option in either case for what they're wanting to do. So it kind of leaves with the option of having West Ox pasture lane and using whether or not to actually have them build all the way out to Weathersfield, as well as make the connection to Arthur P. Gordon Drive. So
Right.
So, did we get a response from the developer or a proposal? I mean, what?
no, we haven't actually gotten what they had brought in.
They're waiting for Judy. Judy's thing just came, right?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. It's actually they actually submitted a packet of information for Judy, and because of the town meeting and all that, she just didn't have time to really deal with this up and once we cleared town meeting, she was able to do some of the research, look into it, because it was actually a pretty large packet that they had presented for her to review, and.
Well, Kurt and I attended a meeting with the developer and with other town officials. Dave Peterson was there, right? Concom, Brent was there. But as I recall, the consensus was, this is not a binding vote or anything, but that the developer would have to improve Vinton's Lane, so all the way to Weathersfield Street.
You mean West Ox?
West
Ox, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
West Ox
Yeah.
pasture.
Okay.
You're right, and then the opinion kind of supports that, and circling back to that conclusion.
Right.
In the meeting.
Yeah.
So they'd have to improve West Ox from Weathersfield all the way through to Arthur P. Gordon,
Right.
Yeah,
and.
Because
I've been-
people are gonna use that road anyway. People who live in this do development, you know, they're gonna be able to
Yeah,
turn
no one
right.
wants to go out, if you live back on Arthur P. Gordon,
Yeah.
you don't wanna go out to Route 1 and come
No.
back around Weathersfield when there's a street in there.
If you're-
Yeah.
But, having gone down Arthur, I mean, it's, at some point, West Ox ends and there's a sign that says end of public way or end of town way.
yeah. I think it's 900 feet from Weathersfield to.
And then,
So it.
and I question who owns it from that point to Arthur P. Gordon. I mean, who has the ownership of that?
That's what they're gonna have to. They haven't submitted. I haven't seen the information.
Right, and I suppose the developer of Arthur P. Gordon may still have the fee in that, but I don't know if they've.
Yeah, they would have to obtain the rights to.
That's a good point, they may have a fee of that. I never even, now I recall, Arthur Gordon at the end, there was an easement.
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a while.
Well, I've actually driven my vehicle up there and
didn't know
gotten
that.
as far as somebody's backyard and said, you know, I'm not, you know, even though I think there is a right of way there, I'm gonna back it out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way down west.
Yeah.
West, if you just keep going straight up West
I
Ox.
think that's a dentist down there.
What do you mean?
If you drive down, there's a house, right? There's Timmy the Volvo kid used to be on the left, and if you keep going straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's that house that's sort of in limbo, that ghost house that somebody started building, doesn't look bad, but no one's finished it up. I don't know if you've seen that place. There's somebody was trying, but I think it was condemned before it was ever.
The other thing to keep in mind is, and Larry made this point at the meeting, is in their concept plan to show the number of homes they could build as a conventional subdivision,
Yeah.
they're relying on access on Vincent Lane.
Yeah.
So if the legal conclusion is they can't use
That's
Vincent
gonna
Lane,
change.
it's gonna throw a monkey wrench into their concept plan and reduce the number of units that they can build.
Right, and then the other thing you pointed out at that last meeting was that, yeah, they're hoping that the conservation land can be the wetland, but you said that can't be part of the,
Well, that's another issue, yeah.
right, so their yield is much lower than they're
Well,
anticipating, which
he's-
could mean that they can't
And
can't afford doing the roadway if they can only get a limited number of
And
units out of it.
their council knows that.
Well, sure,
Well,
we should know that, to make sure it is.
That's a good point, I mean, because.
But the thing is a can of worms, there's so many issues, you
Yeah,
know, I mean,
yeah.
it's
Well, I
just-
mean, they're just trying to work it out, but,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
the fire department certainly would not be interested necessarily with that kind of
I
cul-de-sac.
mean, I'd like to see good access from you know, West Ox Pasture to Weathersfield Street.
Yeah.
Connection there, I think that
And-
would be a good thing for the town.
And it certainly is one of the few remaining large parcels for a you know, a nice a subdivision. Right?
Yeah.
It's nice land. I mean, if, there are a lot of wetlands and there's certainly some challenges in developing it, but
Yeah.
it's secluded, it's close enough to Route 1, it's a good location.
Mm.
However, you know,
They have to
you
work it out.
you have to be able to get to it.
Right.
Right. What are the,
I mean, Judy, it was nice of Judy to do that for
you
us.
said you can give a cul-de-sac waiver if it's an OSRD. What are these, I guess, I could look at the bylaws, what are the factors to consider when evaluating a waiver?
I think it's a public interest
Public interest?
in this situation, let's see.
I don't know if the factors is spelled out in detail.
The dead-end street may not exceed 500, may approve a dead end in excess of 500 feet, but only as part of an
Oh.
open space residential approved under section 6.4 of the protective zoning.
So it's saying if you want a waiver, you have to do an OSRD, and the idea
Right.
Yeah.
behind that was, OSRDs are dense development, so you typically don't need long roads, because, you know,
Right.
and everything's
Yeah.
compact rather than spread out.
Yeah.
Again, West Ox
Oh,
pasture
that's
being
a-
a prime example.
Yeah.
I mean, not West Ox, wild pasture.
Yeah, right, and so I think, you know, in my mind, it's the preferred form of development over doing it the old-fashioned conventional way.
It's come out very nicely.
Yeah, I mean, just.
Aren't the houses really close together though? Like you can see,
Well,
hey, how you doing, neighbor? Like,
Well, the people don't
compared to
mind,
what, though? I
the
mean,
people don't mind that now. How
how can I
fast,
drive down Weathersfield Street?
If you lived in Arlington, you'd say, wow, there's plenty of room. to-
Yeah.
people are falling over themselves. Look at the country club in less than a year, 30,
Yeah.
35 units sold in
Yeah.
different.
Oh, yeah.
And
So
those,
close together. I drove down the other day. I couldn't believe how.
but what people,
Well, but the wild pasture, which is the OSRD, I wouldn't call those houses terribly close together. I
How
mean,
close?
How near is your nearest neighbor?
Huh?
I mean, is your neighbor that close?
Yeah,
don't
I
mind
have a
it.
neighbor that's fairly
well,
close.
I have
Mine's
one,
kind of.
'cause my house is skewed to one side
I
of
can
the
hear
lot.
him talking at night.
Remember, there's only a 15-foot, if you're next to your lot, people can build.
Yeah.
If you look at Emily Lane, you know,
Right, yeah.
you're looking, how close are those?
Well, there's one
The way
little
that-
corner where they had to stack a bunch, 3 houses pretty tight, you know, I'm sure they all kind of run up against that 15-foot buffer, you know, especially just below me. Those, because there's that one house that's way down the dog leg.
I don't know. I always thought there was some sort of frontage you needed. I don't know. I mean,
We-
I'm new at this, but like 150 feet of frontage you needed to build a house. Or
Yeah, but
something.
that frontage,
But
there's
that-
different ways they
So they
Yeah.
They
can
give you all the frontage, but
Different.
still, but then narrow the lot down and then have a narrow way for,
Yeah.
there's one lot that opens up in the back.
kind of, yeah.
So you can't build on the front, you gotta build in the back.
They jigsaw, plus we all have septic systems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when these houses are in, well, it changed. I mean, it used to be like a builder's acre, like 40,000 square feet, but now some parts of town are what?
60, well, most of
60,000.
the time, 60.
But before it used to be 40,000, you know, builder's acre. You know, that's not, if you have your frontage, that can be a thin lot. And then when you try to put a septic system in that and a reserve, so the house gets, you know, and
But with the OSRD, the point is to cluster the house in a village type of atmosphere
Right.
and then leave a lot of environment, natural resources around it. So
Yeah.
it's a little village with a
Yeah.
lot of open
At
space.
least half, at least half.
Yeah.
and it's, people, the kids like it, they can run around, there's more woods to play in, and the kids are, it's more of a neighborhood. If all the houses are on 60, or like, take Boxwood, for example, 2-acre lots,
Yeah.
people don't really, I mean, the kids take off, they don't play, you know, it's like,
Yeah, the
go-
house is so spread.
to go to a neighbor and play, when the kids play, you gotta go like half a mile.
Yeah. Of course,
And now they all complain.
if the open space is a golf course, then they can't play until the snow's on the course, in which case then it's open space.
All right, let's
But
not
that's a
go-
whole
let's not
nother-
go there. Speaking, is that a good segue?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the next-
it's,
that's-
Okay, good.
You go snowmobile on the golf course?
Well, that's not bad, but
Oh,
I don't
that's
think they,
Yeah.
I've already,
But-
I've already told you guys about Kittery Avenue having been dismissed.
That's it.
No, what was that anyways?
I'm not gonna go back in through the whole case, because it's been ongoing.
I can read about it somewhere, right?
Kirk, just ask Kirk and give me the.
I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
I'll give you some.
What's
I'll tell you.
ongoing?
I don't know.
I'm sinking. What happened to this?
Really? Otherwise,
Incredible shrinking man there.
I just need signatures. When I found out about Raleigh Community Media taking care of the computer setup, I went on and made some purchases, used a good portion of the expense account to resupply the office with file folders and.
Pretty extravagant, don't you think?
Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to get you guys.
Just give a budget what's left.
I can,
And you have how much left going into next year?
it'll be about oh, and then I also bought some forever stamps just to
Jeez.
stock up. So I spent about $600 and that leaves probably about $400.
Is that enough to buy that TV we're all talking about?
Well, that's what he's saying, the media department's gonna pick up the cost of the TV.
Now that
Yeah, so we don't
TV,
need to worry about.
is it gonna be like if people gonna be, like we're invading their privacy, if we use Google Earth to look at someone's property that wants to put an in-law apartment or something, people gonna be happy with that? I mean, it's
So,
kinda like an invasion of
we didn't
privacy
do it,
in a
Google
way.
did.
Yeah.
There's an appeals process they can go to
Yes.
Google for if they would like to have it removed.
Oh, really?
Be
You know
rest
everything.
assured, you cannot zoom in onto the nuclear power plant.
Really?
Did you do that with your house? For the whole
You've tried?
thing?
What's that?
You've tried?
Yeah.
No, but if you're coming, but the state has an open meeting law, okay?
Yeah.
So if you're coming for a permit for anything, it's an open process, it's transparent. Anybody can go, look at plans, look at pictures. So instead of looking at a bunch of pictures that he's taken, or I've taken, or whoever's taken, Board of Health, anyone, in relationship to the project and the application. So I mean,
I said no, the Raleigh residents, which
the
we know
stuff,
about
that-
it, having
no,
a
I
camera.
I see what you're saying, but I mean, it's a public process anyways.
Right.
If you,
And they can certainly, it's like,
I know the government can do what they, on cell
if they
phones.
don't want us looking at their property, they
I
don't have to
do-
They
petition
don't
for whatever
apply.
relief they're looking for.
yeah, they
Right,
take,
I mean,
they go,
it's so-
that's why
We
we
have-
have,
It's everywhere, you
So-
can't.
we got the building inspector, is kind
Actually,
of
it's
the
just
one who,
Monday
I hate this,
next week, but.
everything's
everybody
out
else
there
has
and
to
it's
do Monday
all
and
public,
Tuesday.
you can count on us
Shoot for those 2 days.
I mean, we've,
not being interested in you.
That's
why I try to live a boring life.
Yeah.
well, Facebook and Reddit,
Yeah.
it goes on and on.
And then, I think there's
Well,
actually.
Are you going to mention anything, or I could?
Infrared inside the
Likewise,
house.
Kurt, we're gonna sign your expenses, this is the final year-end expenses. The next meeting, well, do you have one thing you need to do, do you have a budget you can email people? When you get around to it, before the 30th, so people, if they have any questions about your final,
Oh, okay.
just do a reconciliation of the 2 budget items,
Okay,
or all the budget items, like you disperse the money for the MVPC,
yeah,
just, you know what I mean.
yeah,
There's already templates there.
yeah.
In reality, every other meeting, or every meeting, we should be looking at that, because again, that's for all the board to look at,
Yeah.
not
We've
just me or
actually.
Kurt. So just do that, can you email before the 30th maybe or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, is that all right? And if anybody doesn't get the email and are interested,
They can come
just
in.
so if they want to comment and, something we gotta put a hold on, or something that Kurt did you don't like, I just want to give you the opportunity for feedback. I mean, he's telling us that we don't have any, we're all cool with it, right?
Mhm.
Are you gonna mention anything about the country club? And there's also a violation there with that.
Yeah,
That's being
yeah,
held up. Releasing that money is being held up because of that big detention basin next to the open space and the septic system and the gazebo? Is there a gazebo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I drove out there actually today and took a look. You know how if you look at the retention basin, there's actually, the wetland plants are growing at the bottom of it, but the slopes are actually, as Brent had noted, that the slopes are actually all dirt. So they're gonna have to do something, I guess, about that. But they haven't actually come back. Brent has had initial discussions with them, but they haven't come back yet.
Oh, that's why it's on, okay, I was in the
I was gonna
misunderstanding. We had a
mention that,
second
but it's
memo.
not really, it hasn't gone anywhere.
Okay.
I recollect when he was building there, he said, yeah, they hit water at a level which they thought would be adequate to flood that pond.
Sustain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and apparently that really wasn't the case, because that thing's been bone dry.
Yeah, well, the pond, yeah, if you look, have you been out there lately?
That's in my backyard, so yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So- Yeah, the
Yeah.
pond, yeah, there is a lot of growth in the pond, but you're right, it's not there's no water, it doesn't have a water level or anything.
Yeah, right, I think
Apparently it
they
doesn't
thought they were
stay
gonna
in-
have, I think even the people, because all those houses are built around that pond, I think
Yeah.
with the idea that it would look better than what it's looking like right now.
Yeah.
Well, it should have, the idea is not only the flood function, you want
Right.
some attenuation of possible pollutants or runoff off the road.
Mhm.
And the only way you get that is by hopefully getting the proper plant life on the bottom. Otherwise, it's just, that's pretty permeable soil, right, sand? It's pretty sandy, right?
Mhm.
So what you wanna do is amend it with some, organics, so something
Mhm.
grows. Because once the plants are in there, they really do a great job
Yeah.
of,
Filtering out everything
Yeah, yeah.
and sustaining the
and then
soil.
they
and-
maintain it, yeah, and they filter out organic, like oil runoffs and this and that.
I also noticed,
Just-
and just from being, walking through there's a couple of places where, I don't know what's given way, but you walk along the sidewalk next to a drain culvert, and the macadam is actually caved in. I think it's almost like a sinkhole, just in small areas, and I think that's something that, I don't think we should be releasing anything until that's addressed.
Yeah, and that's kind of a pain for a builder, because, you think you did all right, and it might have been that you replaced the soils that you don't want. And you may not have, you may have a pocket of like human, organic
Right.
soil that just sinks in. You try to get that out and put stable fill,
Sure, sure.
And then gravel,
Because that's something that obviously
there's a
eroded
process to-
underneath.
There's a process to it.
Yeah.
When you see them do all that stuff in the center of 128 when they're replacing dirt drainage, you wonder why they're doing all this dirt moving. Just because once they put the drainage, they don't want it to move,
Well, that guy moved some dirt to make that project, so I'm sure he,
Yeah.
that would,
It's all stability, it's kind of a pain, and that's happened on Cindy Lane.
Well, we're holding a bond for them too, right?
Yeah. All right, so that's that, anything else? Well, I'll sign this.
Oh, yeah, and there's actually 2 time sheets, I need all 4 pages.
And also Kirk went up, the town did the yearly, both horizontal step increase and the yearly. So in essence, his yearly probation is over, so he was granted the personnel.
Probation, huh?
The personnel, well, no, the personnel board they did give you the step.
Oh, yeah, the step up.
Yeah. And
We get
also
it
the
every
raise.
year, like, there's that, is it?
So, that was good. So,
Awesome
Yeah.
or something.
uh,
Yeah, you'll notice that there are actually 2 time sheets because of the 2 days next week, and I'm, of course, only here on Monday, but the fiscal year ends next Tuesday. So I had to see the second time sheet to cover that. And then you got plenty of stamps probably for the next year. About markers for signing Mylar. Oh, and we're stocked up on cartridges for the color printer.
Oh.
And he also was talking to IT people. They kind of rotated with the departments that are in line for, he has a very, very, very
I'm
old
making another one.
computer system.
Sign this.
So, kind of like that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, apparently in a couple of months. I mean, not, the one I've got is,
It's pretty old.
yeah, it is old.
Doesn't mean it doesn't.
Yeah. If everybody remembers 180 Main Street, the A&R that we had, where everybody was questioning, like, well, we had the hard copy, but we didn't have the Mylar, and whether or not they could record these without having the Mylar, and it turns out you have to have the Mylar.
Masons are all by town and stuff.
So I
Maybe use
brought,
it, do good
Do we have to sign it?
yeah, we need to get
They don't
signatures.
look for that walking
Oh,
business, this
okay.
one, repeat business. Yeah.
If they will sign it.
Something to be said for that, right? Use it, convenience.
And they show,
Oh, it's the,
they deliver
$6.24.
$2 of paper a week,
Yeah.
instead of, so we don't have to store $10 of paper, if they keep delivering it.
glasses.
Short notice.
Yeah, they didn't run on auto drop, so we're not,
Anything I have
a
to
storeroom
do.
full of
Yeah, I've been
Which means you can rent less
15
space.
years,
Which was
right?
well,
That's what I mean. But these are such-
Mark, did you sign all these things?
4 or 5 pair.
Yeah, after he reads it.
places, so I don't go
They
down.
signed that. And these,
Been here.
Wasn't, this goes down and gets recorded, right?
Right.
This will be the one that you get recorded. I mean, technically, I think they take both this and our Mylar, or, and a paper copy, but this is what gets recorded.
Well, maybe I should have taken a motion pending the recording, that when you get evidence of the recording before you release the money.
Oh,
Before
for,
they grab the 15, the 20 grand. Just
For
want to make
what?
sure that it gets recorded. That's-
what?
What
The,
20 grand?
This, well, the surety.
no, this is 180 Main
Yeah.
Street.
Oh,
This is
this
an A and R that we did.
Oh crap, this is A and R, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh, the other one that you're talking about,
We already
the
did that, okay, yeah.
Dexter Drive, it has been.
I didn't even look,
recorded. I've
I
got
thought
it
you were-
for recordation.
Okay.
Kirk, that's all the originals on those
Okay.
All right, I was
invoices.
wrong.
Great.
Sorry.
I'm gonna use your Sharpie if I may.
What else?
That's pretty much it. Oh, minutes. This is the one that-
Jeffson, right?
Minutes and then setting the next meeting.
Yeah.
Church Street, Main
Oh,
Street.
no, this is,
This set of minutes is actually, I don't know if you guys want to maybe.
This is what we just looked at, this is
Yeah,
what Archie's
this
is, this is
meeting.
across the corner.
It's only one page, this was the.
And this is, we approved this last week, or the last time we had a meeting.
Meeting.
look at that, man. Where is it? Oh, he got that.
These are brief, huh?
Got a rubber band?
Oh, there was one.
That was a real estate property, trying to get it.
Oh, here it is, I got it.
These are minutes, you guys?
All right.
Here's your Sharpie back.
Oh, thanks.
Must be go straight with real estate filings, huh?
Pretty busy.
Yeah.
Good clip. Piece of legal.
Not enough work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Let's just finish it up, or else we'll yell at.
Why am I here?
You reviewing these to see if there's any inaccuracies of the things you might have said at that meeting.
That feels nice, it breeze.
You have to kind of like put in parentheses what that acronym is. What it means.
Oh, the site plan review?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
Anybody that comes in.
you don't get to vote on these, you weren't a member at the time.
I absolutely can't assume.
You were a-
they know
you were a
what the
victim of
acronym- the acronym is.
That's right.
Yeah,
Absolutely
Okay.
torturing me.
Is that right?
What?
I just don't think you should have like acronyms thrown into something.
Right.
That's a public document.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine, because you can use any acronym you want, but as you know, just define it once.
yeah, yeah.
You know, I read professional journals in real estate, and there's so many, and appraisals,
Yeah.
it drives me nuts. I'm always like,
Yeah.
it makes me feel dumb that I don't know them all, and then I have to look them up.
I hate it when you,
It's a lot of acronyms.
I was in a seminar this morning where, big change in real estate conveyancing, but,
August 1st.
the CFT, well, now it's October 1st, they moved it back.
They did?
Yeah, the Consumer Protection Finance Bureau created
I
an
didn't even know
acronym
that.
that incorporates an so it's an acronym that consists of two other acronyms.
That was the one I was reading. I was reading articles on that. That's why I was feeling dumb. I'm
There
like,
was,
what are they saying?
the TRID,
Yeah, that's what I was
which is
reading.
the TILA and GFE
Yeah.
integrated disclosure.
Oh, my gosh.
How's that for an acronym?
And I didn't even know the
that.
consumer, I didn't even know what, we had that
CFPB,
bureau.
yeah.
I didn't, I'm so used to getting the HUD in the last, I've done
All
it.
I know is if I make a mistake, they're gonna fine me $1 million per incident.
Well, then also recycles the process for another 3-day period,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
If you don't get it
Well,
right.
Yeah, 3 is, depends on who's counting.
So did they
More
say?
like 7.
So it is going to delay closing? Is that the end result?
Well, until it's gonna be a tough couple of months, I mean, I have my numbers ready 24 hours prior to a closing. We pretty much have to have them ready 10 days prior to a closing now, which is sort of unheard of.
And you can only change it if it's more than a quarter point. There's only 30
Eighth of a
signature,
point.
eighth.
Yeah. So you've done your reading. I was, yeah.
I'm trying.
Yeah,
But I can't say it was.
but that's all, I mean, No, it's residential, so it's.
Yeah, I'm in commercial.
Yeah, you're
so-
never gonna have to deal with integrate it.
Yeah, that's why I didn't call up I didn't call up the attorney, goes, is this gonna affect that?
Are they jumping interest rates that way? Some people out there, the last minute, they jump the interest rate, either sign or, they pay the rate or don't sign.
Well, that's what their,
Assume.
that's what their, objective is.
Just pay
I
cash.
catch them.
That's right. And you know what, it doesn't apply if you're paying cash.
Okay, let's
Okay,
read this in
yeah,
Cliff has.
Excuse me, I like to charge.
Mark, so there's Cliff's, if you have any edits or any comments on this, you have to obviously recuse yourself on.
I can't comment on that.
No, you can't.
Actually,
you
and at the
can.
time, I don't think he was a member.
The,
I get nothing anyway.
the fourth paragraph, which begins with Brian notes. In the next sentence, you're gonna change was to were. Brian notes that legal notices for both public hearings were published. And in that same, at the end of that sentence, you don't have to say New Report Daily News newspaper, just say in the New Report Daily News.
Okay.
You're being picky.
Well, it's,
Redundant.
don't say the Boston Globe newspaper.
But nowadays, it could just be an internet. BuzzFeed.
About that word newspaper, they might just be online, not in the newspaper
Just in.
someday.
That's right.
I like to support the newspaper industry.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Disappear.
That's right. You've got a personal interest in that, huh?
Then it thrives, right?
Well,
I don't know, you.
of course, news is news. It's not just because it's on paper. It's just harder
What
to
would
get
my
paid for
daughter
it if
do
it's not
every
on
day?
paper.
She waits for
Kinda had
my
deep pocket
husband to
investor
come and get
take
the
over.
paper with her.
All right, so Cliff, anything else?
No,
Save
there's
yours.
some commas missing, but I decided not to do that. I've given up on
What's
Kirk and his commas.
It's a
You wore me down.
philosophical,
You wore-
philosophical difference about commas.
You are your dad.
Yes, I can see a couple of them. Right here, that's right.
Yeah. Right.
In mine, or were you
Your
looking at?
independent clauses, yeah.
Well, yeah, here, you're getting happy with them here. Too many commas, I think.
No, don't tell him that.
The applicant and the property owner, comma, and comma. Is that right? And Liz Dupree of Clearwater Environmental.
Could we require him to attend some sort of course on?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you don't need,
You know what we should do is just walk over to the elementary school and see if we can get a teacher to come out and give him a quick brush up.
Get rid of the.
Perhaps your wife could help you.
You definitely need a comma there.
Yeah, and get rid of the comma after the and before Liz.
That's right.
Oh, well, that's, I mean, if you're not gonna have that first comma, you don't need the second one. So that's the debatable part. But if you have the first one, you got the second one.
What do they have against?
Best part of the night.
All right, can I have a vote to accept these minutes
I'll make
for
a motion.
April 22nd meeting
I'll make that motion.
As amended, as revised.
As amended.
as amended?
Second.
Motion by Cliff Pierce, second by Chris. All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Say aye. Opposed? That's
That's the last
Oh,
one.
I wasn't here.
those are approved, I can put that down. Brent's, anybody else want any of Brent's? Everybody have one copy of these
Yeah.
things? 'Cause this was good, we got the memo?
Yeah, that's.
Yep, that's spares.
Memo?
Oh, yeah, I've got it. I've got the original.
Anything else, Kurt?
No, that was pretty much it.
One quickie is, I'm looking at some forms for, I should have read it. I don't, that's all right. Everybody to go home, but it's a form that incorporates not only, it's for actually for the ZBA, but it could also apply for minor site plan modification or site plan review or any of our forms. You know, and it has, it's kind of in that spreadsheet, format where things are in boxes. And it's from Dedham, but what it has in it that I like, it has like a flow chart for the whole process. It actually shows like, they kind of know when their meetings are gonna be. They also have it for signage, for design review advisory, that sort of thing. We don't need to go that far, but I'm saying, has a great frequently asked questions and answer section for applicants. And why they have to, advertise
Sure.
it 2 weeks ahead. And because of that, how soon they have to actually get it in. So there's absolutely no questions as to what signatures they need, what criteria they have to meet, why, what the public meeting process is, and it doesn't add a lot of verbiage, it's just that it's there in the application, so. Because sometimes Kirk,
That's
depending
a
on the
nice idea.
sometimes Kirk, I was surprised, it's new, so I hadn't seen it until this, like recently, and I was like, wow, this is pretty good. It also is kind of scary because they say, if you do not have this signature or do this, we absolutely do not accept this application. You know, it's like, don't bother, you know. And that takes the argument about timelines and, oh, I gave you this, I gave you that. It's like Kirk's hand-holding would kind of go away. And I think it's a good educational thing too, I thought. So maybe if he could look at that in the next few months, and I don't think we would have to go through, we're really not changing our rules and regs, we're just kind of just updating forms, is that right? What's the process, maybe we have to?
Yeah, that's not a rule and reg. I don't think there's any particular process that you need to
If
follow.
we're changing actually rules and
You're not
regs, we have
changing
to have a
anything,
public
you're just
meeting, right?
explaining things,
Yeah,
how
Sure.
things work.
But I also think that a lot of expectations are gonna be raised by people who follow those instructions, so we gotta be really careful to make sure that they're accurate, because, so, and while it may not constitute a rule and reg, it's certainly something we wanna be careful.
Oh,
to-
yeah, absolutely.
But if he has time while we're in
And you know
kind of a
what-
slow period, could he work on that?
Oh,
Is
yeah,
that
that
okay?
makes-
You don't want to use it to impose new requirements, so,
Exactly.
that would have to go.
Not more onerous, just consistent,
Right.
educational.
Yeah, I'm sure the
um,
process will end up being a little more complicated than it sounds when we're just sketching it out here, because there's so many twists and turns with how things can change.
Yeah.
Could extend the
Well, if you-
timeline and how,
and you talk about using dedums as a model?
Yeah, I meant to bring it to him.
Yeah, I mean, if that's.
I was pretty impressed.
They did a
I'm just
nice
curious,
job.
has anyone on this board ever been on that end, trying to do something?
I have.
Because I have, and I can say what you want to do. When I was over there, I had no idea. I was trying to read the rules and trying to read, but that makes sense. You give you a guideline. You need to have this, that. So we're not wasting, people won't be wasting the time of the board, and we won't be wasting their time because they're confused. I went through that. My engineer didn't understand half the reasons why half the meetings were, and then Larry Graham not showing up to a bunch, that was another big setback. It was just like, so many things. Yeah, that's a good idea.
No, I mean,
An awesome idea.
I aspire to have people on the same page, and
Yeah.
ideally, and I know ideally is that boards could, it's some consistency, because oftentimes when people have to go in front of one board, they have to go in front of several boards.
It's actually better for the small person, like a big developer or something. He's got plenty of money to pay attorneys, but a little guy who just wants to, say, put a mother-in-law apartment in something, it's very confusing. I don't know if they have to come before
No, I
them
agree
for
with
that,
you.
but do anything, it's just.
No, I agree with
It's
you.
good,
And
it's good for the resident.
if it's available online, well, this was a national. If it's available online, then it's people running around. Kirk's only there, the town only gives him, 22 hours a week, which is great. Because you do have public hours, they're consistent, people come to see you all the time. So, but if people can't make it at that time, they can pull this offline, get educated before they do see him, and then their time with him. Because when people are paying a consultant, a lawyer, or an engineer, or a representative, that's costing an applicant money, I assume.
Yeah.
So, the less time they spend with Kirk, the less time they start going this and this, what's the process, and everybody knows. So that's,
I almost wish you could instill something like, if someone comes and they have a meeting and say, I don't want to mention, if Larry Graham can't make it, I don't know how many times it cost me $500 a night because Larry decided he did be in Ipswich instead of here. And as a Raleigh resident, and every resident, I think Larry, this should be his number one home. This is, if we.
well, it's a
if
communication,
the town-
we just have to, I mean, that's.
But it
not-
costs the
I don't-
resident money every time that he doesn't show up, and it's not fair to
Well,
the
but
resident.
that's a communication thing that has circumstances. I mean, I don't want to get into that. I mean, that's why we now have a planner, we have a coordination person, and if the coordination happens properly ahead of time before meetings, then there should be no,
And it definitely didn't happen.
then there should be no lack of communication, so that if it doesn't work for you, then your representative should not show up, because you already know this,
And I wasn't told till 7:25.
Yeah,
And
so.
the meeting started at
but,
7:30.
And if that happens, I don't want it to happen again. I mean, that's all. I mean, so, we're trying, we just, we have.
It isn't the
We've only
board's
had,
fault.
we're only had a planner now for a short time, so. We have about less than, like 2 years. In the first year, it's just a learning, just to get used to the office, Now, I actually have someone who can actually implement some of these new procedures that are easier for the public. I know that
Yes. Chris- Katrina.
Katrina, I'm gonna say Christina. She had done, she has, and Kirk has this, she had taken exhaustive notes and she had looked at ways to make the process consistent, clear, but just didn't get a chance to finish it, so Kirk can pick up where it's left off with new ideas. I think it's important to take the best you can learn from other towns and adopt it. There's no sense in totally reinventing the wheel, you know? Right, so, all right, that's it. Do you have a motion to adjourn? Anybody have comments?
Next meeting.
Well, that's a good point. Next meeting. Is there a calendar?
I was actually doing.
I gotta get you, I'm still gonna get you. I'm so embarrassed.
No, don't be, I was,
I already have a 16 one for
I was
you.
a nurse's aide for 2 months.
I have one saved for you on 16 already.
Oh, do you? Oh,
I
good.
do.
Oh, so you're planning that I'm gonna still be here?
Yeah.
Like that.
Whatever.
I'll probably die on the job.
Don't say that.
Is that depressing or what?
Yes.
I was gonna perhaps suggest maybe if July 8th or the 15th.
15th I'm gone.
I'm
you're
gone, 15th
okay.
also.
David was, he told me he was
Oh,
gone.
I can look at my
for the
phone. What am I doing? I hate taking on phones in meetings, it's kind of rude.
Is there anybody who
Um,
wants to go to the next meeting as far as the people waiting, or, I don't know?
There's no real business as of yet.
But there will be
It's going to
something.
be on the 8th, except the updates of the ongoing stuff that we have here. If there are updates, I mean, we're gonna be like talking more about Cindy Lane and that in the upcoming.
I mean, there is a chance, Mark, you bring that up, if absolutely nothing, I mean, I can make the call as chair. I know one thing, I think, I'd like to reorganize, you know, clerk, vice, at some point, we'll try to do that. Chairman, vice chair, clerk, you know, just reorganize the officers in the board.
Me and Cliff?
Um,
You're going to the selectmen, right, full time?
Well, I am a selectman, not really full-time.
I mean, are you staying on those with us, or
I think Steve Cassiotis is going to take my.
were you looking for someone to go?
Huh?
Were you looking for someone to take your seat? Like, who decides that? Is it, I don't know.
Well, it's actually the selectmen who would appoint, if I resign,
Yeah.
It's a recommendation by the board to the
Yeah.
selectmen.
the selectmen would appoint someone to fill my seat for the rest of the
But
term.
it's a recommendation from the board, because it's an interim. I mean, the board would have to kind of make a determination of the person's experience. Let's say with the 3 people, we would try to recommend
Yeah.
what the board feels is the most qualified person. So, I believe so. That's what's happened in the past.
Mhm.
And then that person would write a letter saying they want to do it. It's
Oh,
like-
I don't want to, don't look, I'm just thinking. I'm all set.
You sure?
All right, so,
I'm sure.
What, is this,
I can think of some people.
am I the right month? That's July.
You wanna
The
do that,
the
Doug?
13th is Thursday, right? 15th? No,
The 15th is a Wednesday, the
Wednesday.
third Wednesday.
So the 22nd would be the
I
one
had the wrong
following.
month. Oh, I was in September.
I can't make the 22nd.
I was in September.
Yeah, David can't make it 22nd either, so probably wouldn't be.
So we're looking at the 8th or the
This is-
29th?
Is that July 29th?
There is a July 29th, yeah.
What
fifth
month are we looking
Wednesday.
at?
Oh, do I live above?
Are we looking at
I can
August
make
or
any
July?
time.
Oh, July. I was looking at
Give
July.
me both.
I was
We just pick the next
suggesting
one.
maybe July 8th or the
Oh, you like-
29th.
Could work nights or?
It'd be the 29th is out, 22nd is out for who?
Me.
David and Cliff.
15th is, jeez, this
29th
isn't good.
is out for me.
I can meet the 5th, I can meet the 15th, I don't leave till the 16th.
Oh,
Where you go?
My son's birthday.
Oh.
I don't think I leave till the 16th.
I'm out that whole week.
Well, you know, we can skip July.
Yeah,
Sure.
that'd be nice.
What's with, well, not that
I mean,
not that I'm looking to do it, but what's up to the 29th? Couldn't we, is there any conflict there?
the only thing
Me,
is,
you know,
Okay, I'm sorry, yeah.
well, I guess just in case we needed to, if
60th birthday.
yeah, something might come up.
something comes up, there is an application that I'm processing. They would have to meet, early August for, but I'll talk to Curtis about it. 'cause we
I can meet,
set-
I can meet on the 12th. Can we tentatively say the 12th of August?
Oh, August,
Is that okay?
Yeah.
yeah.
So when you're telling applicants, is that boom, boom,
Mhm.
Mark?
Mhm.
All right.
No,
So we're
Is
scratching
that
the
okay with
8th?
you?
Yeah, 12th would be best.
No, if something comes in and we absolutely have to meet July 8th, we can do so.
Okay,
You know, something really pressing, we have to.
If we have
A
pressing.
legal issue or something.
okay.
Or an A&R, is that okay on the 8th if we have to?
Yeah.
But at this time, I don't think we do.
Okay,
Yeah.
So recess.
So the 12th of August.
August. Okay.
It's nice to take time off.
Yeah.
And
Summertime,
thanks for
especially.
everybody's help. We had some difficult
Yeah,
ones
don't you
this
have
year.
meetings every
Well,
other month?
they're on a twice a month schedule in the summer, I believe. They, you know, relax a little.
So you guys are on break right now? and
Huh?
It's more relaxing schedule.
No, it's every other week.
You know what the irony,
Yeah.
you know what the irony is in trying to get, the boards take recesses, but the building season and trying to get permits and get things approved and do the building, it's in the summer.
Yeah,
So
sure.
it shortens the window when developers can get these approvals,
Right,
because
well, if there's,
volunteer boards don't, we're not the only people who don't meet.
if there's business to be done, we should meet, but if there's not business.
Some
We're
boards-
open enough to.
But some boards absolutely say, no, we don't, we're skipping.
Convene if we have to.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah,
if.
we have to, but
Right.
People are waiting for it.
So far, nobody's, the city lane, that's not, I mean, no one's presenting on that day, they're gonna need, we know they're gonna need to be in here eventually.
Yeah, they're gonna need to be in here in August to either renew, or we'll have to decide,
Never ends.
you know, whether to call in that
Got that right.
surety. I mean, technically, that the way the surety, or the tripartite agreement is that it says that they need to finish their project by August 31st. So.
of what year was that?
1989, I'm pretty sure.
You know, but that's gonna happen.
And then we have the
Like,
option.
we don't really need to meet and just yap about something that Kirk can work.
Yeah.
How many times do you have to repeat yourselves, right?
Yeah,
Right.
What's
We
that?
can work with John Moore and we can work with the engineer, and that, some of that stuff can happen behind the scenes. We don't have to formally
Absolutely.
Yeah.
just be the, you know.
Yeah,
There
right.
was some sign that DEP was moving on that appeals, on settling that appeals, so that could be upcoming in the next, but I haven't, it's not definite yet. Brett was like, he got some, they requested some information because they were trying to deal with it. And so we provided that information.
Yeah,
And
that subdivision started, I had brown hair.
yeah, I was young.
Yeah, yeah, right,
Yeah, we all were young.
Well, anyway, brown hair, no.
I didn't even live in Massachusetts at the time, so.
All right, can I have a motion to adjourn? Thanks.
I'll make the motion.
Second? Yep.
who did the second?
Second, Mark?
Yeah.
Second, who?
I didn't either, but.
Second by Mark, motion by Cliff.
In
Thank you,
favor.
that was, have a nice recess.
Finished early as always.